Excellencies, colleagues, I'm now pleased to offer the floor to another distinguished, I want to say fellow Trini, if you would allow me, a very, very exceptionally distinguished member of our National Community. Her Honor, Mrs. Deborah Thomas Felix, President of the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago, and a member of the Committee of Experts on the application of conventions and recommendations of the International Labour Organization. Excellencies, colleagues, you may be aware of the important role played by the International Labour Organization in the process to the establishment of the World Day of Social Justice and ongoing. Madam President, welcome to the OAS Permanent Council. We are delighted that you are here with us in person, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, permanent, interim, and alternate representatives, permanent observers, fellow presenters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my warmest congratulations to this special meeting to celebrate World Day of Social Justice. The concept of social justice is about fairness and equity across society. Social justice speaks to, among other things, equal economic, educational, and workplace opportunities for all, and promotes the safety and security of individuals and communities. In fact, access to resources is a fundamental principle of social justice, and so is equity, diversity, participation, and human rights. I will focus my short presentation today on social justice in the world of work. Social justice is very fundamental in the practice of labor law and good industrial relations. More than a century ago, the ILO, in the preamble of its constitution of 1919, stated that, and I quote, "Universal and lasting peace can be established only if it is based on social justice," unquote. According to the ILO, the aspirations of social justice is for every working man and woman to claim freely and on the basis of equality and opportunity their fair share of the wealth that they have helped to generate. Aspirations which are as important today as they were in 1919, especially in these times of rising inequalities and exclusions. The concept of social justice features prominently in the ILO's Declaration of Philadelphia of 1944, a declaration which was adopted and it has been recognized by governments and by employers and workers' representatives worldwide. The declaration reminds us that labor is not a commodity and that work is part of everyone's daily life and is crucial to a person's dignity, well-being, and development as a human being. Therefore, economic development should include the creation of jobs, working conditions in which people can work in freedom, safety, and dignity. Social justice is inextricably linked to international labor standards, which are essential to sustained progress, the improvement of the quality of life, and the dignity of men and women. To appreciate the role which international labor standards play in promoting social justice, one has to first understand the work of the ILO, which is to set labor standards and promote policies of decent and productive work in conditions of freedom, equity, security, and dignity for all men and women around the world. Currently, in the world of work, workers are faced with a number of unexpected challenges, and there is evidence of the deepening of inequality. Permit me, though, to remind of the importance of the concept of equity, which I feel is critical to any discussion on social justice. Equality as we are well aware, refer to each individual or group of people being given the same resources or same opportunities. Equity, on the other hand, I feel may better expand any discussion on social justice as it takes into account the fact that each person has different circumstances and therefore aims to provide the requisite resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. Both are central to achieving and sustaining social justice, but I like to think of equality as the destination and equity as the vehicle we use to arrive there. I submit that understanding this distinction assumes even greater urgency when we consider the distribution of wages at the individual level, and that distribution has become more unequal, with the gap growing between the highest 10% of the wage scale and the lowest 10%. Social justice, therefore, is a linchpin to addressing the deepening of inequality. Permit me to take a quick and brief look at the Americas. The ILO's World Employment and Social Outlook Trends of 2023 reports that the macroeconomic situation and growth outlook for both Latin America and the Caribbean and North America has been dampened by the combination of geopolitical uncertainty in Ukraine and the persistent inflation. Both factors have eroded consumer and business confidence and reduced overall aggregate demand and investment. In turn, job growth has weakened and in some instances turned negative. The ILO's Social Protection Overview for Latin America and the Caribbean region in December 2022 has focused on pension systems in the region. It has reported that improvements in coverage, sufficiency, and sustainability are essential to provide economic security, particularly to those people most affected by crises such as COVID-19. The ILO has warned that age-related social protection coverage is deteriorating in the region, leaving 34.5% of people over the age of 65 without any labor-related income or pension, a situation of vulnerability and economic insecurity that has been made worse by the COVID-19 virus crisis. This overview states that the pandemic made visible the importance of social protection systems and that social protection is essential to promote social inclusion and cohesion and reduce poverty and social disparities, especially in the context of a crisis that has hit the most vulnerable sectors hardest. Moreover, the ILO most recent report on Latin America and the Caribbean, which was released this month in February 2023, noted that the unemployment rate in the region fell to 7.2% in 2022. Job quality problems, although that has happened, job quality problems persist in the region as inflation impacts wage levels. The report also stated that the region faces a highly complex and uncertain labor market in 2023 due to a conjunction of multiple crises that impact labor markets and make it necessary to implement policies to create formal employment. The report states that in this economic scenario, the most pressing labor issue for the region is the quality of employment and the insufficient labor income generated by workers and their families. The report further highlights that the labor recovery so far has been strongly driven by the increase in informal occupations, which represent between 40 to 80% of the jobs generated. This, I think, should be data of concern in the region. And I suggest that this data should be examined together with the findings of the ILO that informal workers are between 3 and 4 times more likely to be poor than formal workers, while accounting for between 70 to 90% of the total working poor. As you know, a large informal economy has its attendant social issues such as job instability, low income, and little or no social protection. I will end where I started with the words of the ILO's constitution that universal and lasting peace can be established only if it is based on social justice. Therefore, we as individuals and as a global community should each play our part in promoting and adopting policies to ensure that a world of equity, equality, fairness, and inclusion is not a dream, but in fact, a reality. I thank you for listening.